Greetings and God bless. I have been looking into relocating out of Rapid City because the wind is a little too much for me, like 60 miles an hour for a couple weeks, and it's still it's the end of April and it's still in the 30s, 40s. So after about 2 years, almost 2 years. Um, I'm looking into a new place, and I'm a bit of a minimalist and I like to live within my means. So I'm looking into shared housing. And what I'm noticing is people are saying that they don't want somebody working from home. And they're charging, the market rate, whether you're looking in South Dakota or Iowa or or San Francisco. It's like everybody's trying to really have the same rate for a space. I mean, it's there. Of course, there is a little bit of a leeway, but I'm pretty surprised that I'm looking at a place in like a rental, and it'll be 500, 600, $800, and it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not like you have public transit right out your door or whatever, or a great store walking distance. Like, and what I'm noticing, and I actually saw a realtor describe that what they're doing is people are having the renter pay the landlord's mortgage and their costs. And in the past, I mean, maybe this is what's always been done, and I'm just a slow learner, but so what I'm noticing is people are like they're saying they have what's called a sleeping room. So these people are making it very clear that it's sort of like you're in a homeless shelter. They just want you to maybe go to bed, be there, go to bed at 8 o'clock, wake up at 5, and be gone, be out of the house at 5 in the morning. So you're just basically renting a safe place that you're not going to be mugged from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Okay. And they just want you to pay. They want you to pay your first, last, and deposit, and leave no trace. Be an ideal person. Don't have pets, kids, smoke, and believe their beliefs. Riot if they want you to riot and dye your hair or something like that. Um, so there's the people who make it clear that this is just a sleeping room, and you don't get to live in the rest of the place. And then there's other people who are not really clear that that's what they want. Because I do notice, like, so you're supposed to pay first, last, deposit, added utilities, right? But you only are like what the landlords really want, or what the leaseholder really wants. Even though they want you on the lease, they want you to just sleep there, for the most part, it seems. And so, I think like what leaseholders and landlords who are living in the house or property, um, when you're having somebody pay the market rate, $600 for a room, and you want first and last, so $1,200 plus deposit, perhaps. So, what, 1,500? I don't know. Like, so you want like 1,500. Um, but you only want somebody to basically just go to sleep and wake up and get out of the house. And maybe there's some street parking, maybe. So this is what the roommate sharing, the house sharing situation is. And I think it's good for leaseholders and landlords to be really clear about that, because it seems like there's this, um, like, they want you just to pay money and not be there. That's what I'm really noticing is they just want your money, and they want as little, like, that you don't deserve life, for what you've paid for. You don't deserve it. And maybe what landlords and leaseholders need to do is charge what they think it's worth. Maybe charge $1 million a month, um, because they don't, it's clear that they don't think that the person paying the rent deserves to live there, to be there during the day. Um, and yeah, so it's a very strange situation, and maybe it's always been this way, with landlords charging extravagant rents. And in the past, I've just been able to find rentals where you have a bunch of people, and so the rent is more livable, so you have more money to do fun things or pay off debt or save money. uh, and maybe I'm just slow on the uptake, and I've been in kind of different locations that I don't think people are doing as much, like the kind of rental experience that I'm used to. Now everybody's is basically running a boarding house. Everybody's doing, like, I mean, the nice way of calling it is Airbnb, but everybody's just like making more money out of tourists and charging the tourist $100 a day, $300 a day. Because right now here I'm in Rapid, and that's what they do when the Sturgis Bike Rally happens for a month or so. So landlords are making $100 a day. They have no interest in having a renter for a year. So there's really not like I left Missoula, Montana, which has a less than 1% vacancy rate. And I think it's actually worse here in Rapid City because there's an Air Force base that's expanding. And then we have Sturgis, and the landlords are used to $100 a day. I mean, like, the landlords were greedy in Missoula, where they were able to, you know, get college students to pay. Like, it seems like when there's college students, landlords are like, ooh, we're going to just rape the college students' money. Um, so it's like, where are the landlords that just understand that they were blessed by God to have property, and that it's their job to make shelter available for somebody to pay for? Like, I want to pay a reasonable amount for housing. But it's like landlords and leaseholders are living this fantasy, where, you know, people are not making the amount in rent. I mean, I guess they want everybody to have three jobs, and it's not necessarily, they're not all, really nice tech jobs or something. So, anyways, I'm just kind of ranting, um, just about this challenging um, situation for people who want to rent, and want shared rentals. It's like you're not allowed to be in your place during the day, and you're having to pay the leaseholders rent and the landlord's mortgage, and then some. And I know, I mean, I like anybody I've known who's owned property, or not anybody, but a lot of people, they complain about renters. But um, yeah, I don't know. I just think that, just from my experience as a renter and knowing other renters, like, one time out of, however many years, 30 years of renting, like, one time a renter was like, I guess, had a humidifier going on, so there was some mold growing. um, but I don't recall anybody else harming the property. But landlords that I know, like, just, socially, they have bad experiences with people that rent. But, like, a lot of people I know are renters, and they don't talk about having done bad things, or just like renters being crazy. I mean, I had when I was in Montana, there was a couple that were renting, but they just had an argument themselves. They didn't do anything to the property. So those are two kind of wild renter experiences where one caused mold to grow with this humidifier and a couple had a fight. But anyways, it's just interesting because landlords are like, yeah, renters are so mean. Rental protection laws for renters is so bad. And I mean, I'm sure that there are some bad renters, but for the most part, I think renters are really at the mercy of the market and of landlords. And I know people are like, well, you should just make more money. You should just get a job at Denny's and a job at, as a prostitute or something like that. And yeah, it's just not that easy. Not everybody has that fortitude and energy and that numbness to sell your soul, to make the money that a landlord wants you to pay for the space that they don't want you to be inside of. So, yeah. Um, how do you guys handle this kind of thing? I mean, I know people are just like, they take out a loan and they buy a house. And I'm just like, I just don't want to buy like a $250,000 place, and then the neighbor's going to have the yapping chihuahua on one side, and then the other neighbor's going to have some loud machine generator for their HVAC or something like that. Like and people don't care. You can tell them people just do not care. And then you can try to talk to the city. The city doesn't care. So I just do not feel motivated to do that. And then, well, people are like, well, then just, buy land in the middle of nowhere and live off grid. And I'm like, well, so then I'll just dehydrate and starve to death out in the middle of nowhere. I just don't really know what my options are. So if anybody knows anything that's, like I want to pay for where I live. People are like, oh, well, just get in the system, do Section 8. And I'm like, I just don't want to, because I don't think the government should pay these ridiculous rental prices, like, $1,500 to $2,000 for like a slum. Like I don't like, and I don't like how landlords do that. Like landlords have this ridiculous rental rate. So the people have to apply for government aid to pay for this $2,500 slum. And then so then the landlord just gets used to that rate, just making people go on government assistance to just pay rent, instead of like what a landlord should do is like, what is the going rate? Okay, everybody's making $8 an hour. Okay, what's a reasonable amount of rent for people that make $8 an hour working 40 hours a week? But landlords aren't doing that. Like landlords are living in this la la land. They're all just like, oh, I'm a Kardashian. I have to, live this grand lifestyle. And, I have people by the throat for their survival. And yeah, it's a bad situation. So, like, where are there reasonable landlords and where there's kind of decent infrastructure? Because that's kind of the challenge. Like, I'll see some places that are reasonable, but it's out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, do I want to be out in the middle of nowhere? I mean, who knows if the neighbors, when they see me, walking to the grocery store, I mean, like people are not in their right mind. Like they're not all to themselves. Like there's something I notice as like an independent, creative, person with integrity. I do my own thing and I march by my own drummer. And some people really do not like independent people. they want to harm people who are just doing their own thing. And what I don't understand is like these people, they'll have children or they'll have a business, and they should be busy. They have got plenty to keep themselves busy, but instead they want to give me a hard time for, one little thing that I moved out of place, or one little speck of dirt that I made, that I didn't clean up. And the thing is, I'm fairly fastidious. Um, but there's like people who like they feel so insecure or defensive, and that somehow there's something in my demeanor that seems to bring it out, or maybe I'm just noticing it more than other people who just don't care. Like I care. I'm like I'm like, did I leave a mess? And anyways, there's these OCD controlling type of people that I notice. And so I'm kind of concerned about that because the OCD controlling types, whether they're queen bee or whatever, like they like to like target people and harass people. And it seems like other people around them know there's something not right. Other people around them don't like the queen bee um OCD controlling person. They don't like it, but for some reason they're kind of afraid of them, or maybe they're just numbed out. But like what's bad about that is when there's this OCD malignant person, and then everybody is just like, whatever. And the OCD person wants to hurt, like it's almost as if there's something inside them that wants to consume and get a piece of you. Like that's how I feel a lot. I feel like sometimes there's these people who just want to get a piece of me. They want to get my peace of mind. They want to crush me, and it wouldn't be so bad if everybody else was not so cowardly and indifferent. Because if I see something that's really noticeable, I'm like, hey, that's not cool. Like, I mean, I'm not always every day rah, 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 but I will kind of say something. um and I just noticed in my situation, and the thing is, I'm very independent and I've got my own schedule, so I don't really have a whole team of people around me all the time. But even when I have, yeah, I just don't seem to generate a lot of um like there's not it seems like there's a lot of cowards out there. Like when I was younger in the 70s and 80s, there were really outspoken people that freaked me out. Like I was more of a coward at the time. But now as I'm 52, and I'm like, wow, like people were trying to talk to me, in like the 80s. And I was just like, I'm so consumed with trying to survive. I couldn't really process what they were saying. And now I feel like, and I'm not a hugely courageous person. I don't have a whole lot of self-esteem and self-confidence to, trust in the world enough to speak up. But I do. Um, but yeah, there's like like people will behind an abusive boss's back or whatever. Coworkers will say you're right, or whatever. Like I do get like validation, but behind the perpetrator's back. It's very rare that when the perpetrator is violating me and there's witnesses, it's very rare that somebody's like, hey, this is not right. um like it's very strange. And maybe there's, I know there's something more I need to do. Maybe it's be more assertive. um Maybe it's like I think I need to stop being so caring, I guess. But I want to be responsible for what I do wrong. So anyways, yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out clearly, as you can tell. But yeah, coming back to the strange roommates share situation where landlords or leaseholders that are living there, they just want people to sleep there and pay all the money all the deposit and last month's rent and first month's rent and utilities, and be this ideal renter, but don't get to use it during the day, you know um, and yeah, that's I think as long as a landlord or a leaseholder is clear about that. Like, my point is that the leaseholders that are saying they don't want somebody there during the day, like, is it because the leaseholder wants the place to themselves? So they should make that clear. And if the leaseholder doesn't want a renter there during the day, they need to say, you can be here from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. So that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the person can be in the premises for 9 hours a day, 30 days, and just say, okay, well, that's what you're getting. So we're going to charge you $600 and for 9 hours a day, 30 days a week. And it's basically, being paid to be in a homeless shelter. It's just a nicer homeless shelter where maybe it's not going to be quite so dangerous. So, yeah, this is what where we have come to. That you're paying a good rate, and you're not allowed to be in the place that you're paying rent for. So, what are you paying for then? You're not really paying rent. Like, what is it? I mean, you're paying for hourly occupation. You're paying for nighttime use uh, of a property. You're not really paying rent, because I think rent applies to, yeah, you're making breakfast and you're having a phone call and you're going to play with the dog, and and then you're gonna go for a run, and then you're gonna go to work, and then you're gonna come home for lunch. I mean, like, that's what I think rent is like, you're free. But what I'm noticing in these places that are charging this market rate, like, no, you don't get to live here. You just get to sleep here. And I think it's good that landlords and leaseholders make that clear, that you get to be here 9 hours a day at night, and you have to pay all this up front. So yeah, I think that this is, at least, get it all out there in the beginning. So, but I've got to say, as somebody who rents, like, that's not a livable space, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it when you're like on the clock, and it's like you're it's a hotel, but it's worse than a hotel because you can't be there during the day. So, anyways, what do you guys think, and any other solutions other than what I've just talked about? So, God bless.